What's up, friends? We're back for another giveaway. We're at least over 20. I'm Dave Flatt, and it's fall. We're excited. Fishing's getting better, and looking forward to more and more entries. This is the time of the month that we get to play Santa Claus and give away 4 prize packages to people that have entered fish. So it's kind of fun. Without further ado, I'm going to bring on the team. We got a good turnout tonight. We got Adam. We got Don from Mississippi. Michael. Evan from Florida. And we got Carrie. How's it going, team?
Good.
Good. What's going on?
I'm good, Dave.
Good. Good to see. It's always good to see Don turn into the thing, and also Evan. Appreciate you guys all the time. And how's the fishing in your part of the country right now?
Don, you first.
Kind of slow right now. Trout's in transition. Plenty of bait up the bays. Fish moving in from the islands, and there's so much bait, and they just scattered all over, not piled up anywhere. You got to kind of fish really hard, catch a lot of shorts, and pluck out a few keepers. But other than that, it's been a grind here for the last month.
Don, I don't know that I've ever asked this before, but what part of Mississippi do you fish out of, like Gulfport or Biloxi or?
Biloxi.
Okay.
Biloxi, Gulfport, Long Beach. We kind of launch on all 3 places. Depends on where we can go.
I gotcha.
Okay. Ocean Springs, Pascagoula. We kind of launch just all up the coast.
Okay. Now, Evan, you got a story to tell. You caught a fish. You had a first recently.
I did, man.
Tell us the story.
All right, there I was, right? Yeah, man. Caught a big-ass surprise snook the other day. I'd heard reports of them being around here, and I saw a smaller one last October when I was grass flats fishing. And the fishing hasn't been epic around here. I haven't been fishing a lot. I've been spending most of my time working in the woods, getting late season herbicide applications in. Try to send that stuff into winter sick. So I've been doing more of that. It's been blowing, so that's been tricky too. That's that point. But so I've been catching a lot of redfish because I stayed on the trout pretty heavy all year. I give them a break late summer and just kind of let them regroup. So just been going a lot of places with deep water, heavy structure, heavy current, and catching redfish and just messing around, soaking big baits to see what happens. And had a day where the trout fishing went to 0, and it wasn't very much above that to start anyway. You got a lot of those days right now. And just, like I said, trying to catch redfish, and threw into a spot that would be a likely spot for a redfish to be sitting after I'd checked the other 97. And big snook just happened to be sitting there, man.
Really cool. So is your part of the state a similar latitude to like Jacksonville?
Yeah, you can jump on I-10 about 11 miles north of me and just stay straight.
Okay.
And land.
Because they don't have a whole lot. Like they got a few in Jacksonville as well, right? It's just kind of on the northern limit of their range.
Yeah, there's a guy that caught the Alabama state record not too long ago. I think it was last year, and it was like 7 pounds. So, and that was about 10 miles away from wherever I caught that fish. That fish was mid-30s in length.
Yours looked like it was 7 pounds.
Yeah, times 2 maybe.
I was going to say.
Well, I was just excited, man. It was kind of comforting to just kind of be at a point in my fishing perspective like that. I was like, man, that's a pretty cool fish, and it's big, and I want to make sure it just goes back in the water. So I didn't measure it, anything. I took a couple pictures of it. It's one of my buddies passed by and kind of was looking over it. Andy, if you're out there, man, he was passing by, and I just kind of did he's like, he spins over. Is that a snook? Yeah, man. Didn't see that one coming. And so we threw it back. Maybe it'll be bigger. We'll catch again next year.
Very cool.
Did you, what kind of tackle did you have on?
7 foot, medium heavy, 3,500 class reel, and a big live white trout.
I got I don't know what it was, but I was out with my dad a couple months ago, and I about got spoiled. I ended up just popping it because there was no way it was coming back. But I regretted not having something heavier on there in that area because it could have been anything over there in that bay. So That was kind of lesson learned in that area. Not to throw the super tiny braid.
Yeah, man, that 7-foot medium heavy for me, it feels like you're just walking out the door with a broomstick because I spend so much of my time fishing shallow water, light lures, and real light tackle that throwing heavy braid, heavy lead. I mean, it's only 25-pound fluoro, so it wasn't even a meat stick. It's just, like I said, 7-foot medium heavy. But to me, that's like, a marlin rod.
Yeah. Yep.
And it was underclass where I was, being down there at the jetty. That jetty drops off into 50 feet, and the current was ripping. So, I had fresh batteries, and I was locked in and was still losing, I don't know, 10, 15, 20 feet every 30 seconds to a minute, just drifting, being pulled into the Gulf of America trying to catch a redfish snook. So,
is there a lot of them down there where you fish, Evan? A lot of snook?
That's the first one I've caught. Like I said, I saw one. There's been some reports of a few others. Maybe some folks have caught them. I don't know, man. I'm kind of disconnected from the loop and a lot of things. I just kind of fly to my own beat over here, man.
Same thing happened to me a couple years ago. I was trout fishing in the bay and I caught a snook. Never even dreamed. The furthest thing from my mind to catch one of those. That thing come up and I seen that big white mouth. I thought it was a bass because we catch a lot of bass because it's brackish water. And then all of a sudden that thing dove and took off and I got it upside the boat. My son-in-law had the net and he looked at me. He said, "That's a dang snook." I said, "Man, that thing was probably, I don't know, 24, 25 inches long, maybe 10 pounds, 12 pounds. And right when we went to net it popped off. And it was, I caught it on a mirrodine, a little Menhaden colored mirrodine.
Nice.
Crazy.
Man.
And then there's reports of a lot of people catching them just all over the place over here.
Yeah, somebody asked me if, is that a slot fish? Did you kill it? And I was like, I don't know what the slot is on them. Wasn't planning on catching one, really. But apparently they're delicious, and that fish was probably somewhere between 32 and 35 inches, if I had to guess. It wasn't a 37.
That's a nice
one. Either way, it was big. It was cool. It was a great experience. We threw it back.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Cool. Carrie, how you been? How's the guiding going?
How's what? Yeah, I've only taken a couple people out. I got a buddy of mine coming in from Kansas City. He used to date my sister back in college, and then
before or after you did.
What's the story?
Hey, if she's not good enough for me, she's not good enough for him. But he got a divorce about 6-8 months ago. My sister's been single for a while, and they're dating again. So they're going to make a road trip from Kansas City to here. They're getting in Friday night late. So we're going to be doing a lot of fishing, I'm sure.
Cool. Awesome. Well, we got a lot of ground to cover with our updates this month. So I'm going to get at it if that's okay with y'all. Wanted to recap a little bit. The Toadfish tournament was a giant success here in South Carolina. In fact, Casey, the owner of Toadfish, who's there on the right there speaking to the group, he wants to make it a multi-state event next year. So it's going to be bigger. And everyone that I asked at the event, what they thought. They loved the format. It was it was a 1 week duration, and you had fishing chaos, so you could check your standings and you could kind of measure yourself against other people. And they all loved that. Pretty much unanimously, they loved that it disqualified guides from participating because they felt like they had a chance. I mean, not that we can't have a guide category in the future, but the format was really fun. I fished it, and I think I got top 10 in the slam category, which was one of my goals. I knew I was going to win because I couldn't fish as much as I wanted to, but really fun tournament. And you can see it was a pretty good turnout. It's a little bit far away from most of the people, but we probably had 60 or 70 people at the after party. Really good raffle, just a first class. Everything that Toadfish does is really first class. So that was super fun. Here's a couple pictures I got with some people. These, if you're local to Charleston, you know Mandy on the left picture, and Darcy are two like pretty prominent lady anglers, and they had a ton of fun fishing it. And I think Darcy had like a 24-inch flounder or something like that. She almost won, which is pretty cool. And then this girl, I don't know her, but she's really active in the kayak community. The girl on the right, and she won the ice strike package. So I got a picture with her doing that. So that was cool. So yeah, just wrap up that tournament. It was really great. And they were able to send us a donation to Release Over 20, $3,000 in that tournament. So really, really generous. And we're so grateful. And, you know, if the tournament gets bigger and better next year, it could be even better for us. So pretty cool. Really grateful about that. Other thing going on this month, you might have saw, again, this is sort of South Carolina or sort of Southeast Atlantic focus, but the ASMFC had a scoping feedback session for all the states in the southern zone of redfish. That was South Carolina, Georgia, and the east coast of Florida. And it basically has to do with like that organization kind of mandates what the states have to do in terms of setting catch and creel limits in order to recover the population. And there was a really sketchy thing they tried to put in there, and it still might pass, but they were trying to change the level that the states had to meet from 40% to 30%, which is like basically like moving the goalposts to make it easier to meet the requirements. And everyone that I saw gave a comment, and I was one of them I went to our in-person session, stood up, kind of gave our stance with Release Over 20 about we want people to manage for abundance, and, you know, the population is expected to grow another 20% in the next 10 years and all this stuff. We need to get out ahead of this, all that. Everyone who spoke was way against that, in the overarching opinion was to keep the status quo, which means keep it at 40%. And that's the spawning potential ratio is what that is. It's, if you look online, Georgia Saltwater on Instagram has a really good explanation of what that is. But anyway, so that was going on. You probably saw in our media, we were asking people to comment, and hopefully y'all were able to, at least those of you in the zone where it was affecting. Another thing that was kind of cool that happened this month was the Port Royal Sound Foundation is in the middle right now. I think it's 3 more days left of it. They have a giant tournament in the southern part of South Carolina that's collecting a bunch of really cool information for DNR. And they invited us to go there. Me and Dawson, you can see on the bottom right here, went to the first. They have actually 2 captains meetings, but this is the first captains meeting. Look how many people there are. I think they have like 200 anglers registered. And the facility, as you can see, is like a freaking amazing. It's right on the water. It's beautiful. But it's a first-class event. And the cool thing was she invited me to come up and speak to the crowd. So I had this captive audience of like 100 and something people. And again, just kind of told people what we were about. A lot of people didn't know. One girl came up and said she'd been following us on Instagram for years and didn't know you can enter a fish. I was like, what? So one thing we're going to do on our Instagram is put a like how to participate thing and just pin it to the top. So Ashley's working on that right now. But that was good feedback, because I just assume people know what it's all about, you know, but people don't.
That's great feedback, Dave.
Yeah, I thought so too. So first thing I did is I said, raise your hand if you've heard of Release Over 20, and about half the people raised their hand. I was like, that's awesome. And then I said, okay, how many people have entered a fish? And like half of those again went up. So not everyone's participating, which is one thing I encourage them to do. But anyway, really good event. Glad we got a chance to go. Me and Dawson, I stayed at his place. We went fishing the next day, caught a couple nice trout. That part of South Carolina is about the most beautiful place in the whole country. I swear, it's gorgeous.
Don't tell everybody.
Yeah, well, it wouldn't even matter. I was talking to him about this. I said, you could tell everyone how great that place is, but you can't possibly build very much there because it's all estuary. There's only a few islands, you know.
It is.
And a lot
It's
of
a
it's
pretty magical area.
It is, and a lot of it's protected by like green space protection. So even if you wanted to build there, you couldn't. So pretty cool. So it was a good month of September. It's actually a little bit of a negative from August. We had 600 something entries in August, so it went down a little bit. I guess maybe it's just the typical September transition period. It's a little bit harder to catch fish, and I mean maybe that's what it was. That's all I can explain it. We had 50 trout.
Adam and I don't get on the water that much when all those shrimpers are out there.
Yeah.
It just, the boat landing's crazy.
So for people not from around here, like explain what's going on with that.
Well, it's out in Bulls Bay. There's a channel that runs from pretty much from once you get up into the creeks, I guess it runs across the bay and over to the north side of Bull Island. And I went out there in my wife's little 16-foot John boat just to talk to people, to see what was going on. Me and another friend did, and they were all real friendly. But so you're the ones that were, I guess they were, would you call that free casting or something, where they didn't have the bait? They were tearing it up. The people with the bait, and they have their poles that are set in probably like 8 foot of water or something with the little pancake bait binder, and those guys weren't doing nearly as well. But the ones throwing out in 22 foot of water was more work, but they were getting some shrimp. But it's Adam can tell you. I mean, Garris Landing is normally you pull in there and you don't have any problems finding a place to park. But I mean, you're parking up the road if you get in there on a day where there's no wind. It's just crazy. Even on a weekday.
It's a giant flat that just rolls into the Atlantic. And there's tons of oysters. And this time of year, the shrimp are just in abundance there. And everybody that likes to go shrimping in probably 100-mile radius goes there because it's probably one of the best spots. So it fills up.
And now we've got oyster season opening up. So,
Don't eat the oysters, not yet. Hold off.
You may not know this, David, but Garris Landing is now a no wake zone, so you can't come in on plane. So those oyster boats that normally come in on plane when it's, of course they're coming in, there's probably 3 foot of water in the channel, but there's 18 inches in there a lot of the times when you're trying to get in or out at low tide. So
yeah, it's probably like Bushy used to be, where you had to hammer down just to stay shallow enough draft just to get in there, right?
Yeah.
So just to recap, if you're not from South Carolina, we're kind of a unique place where we actually have a shrimp baiting season. A lot of states don't have this, and they don't know what we're talking about. But you basically, there's a season. It's like 3 months long, and you go out and you sort of stick 10 poles in a line, and all they do is mark location. And then next to the pole, you'll throw a little pancake of call it bait binder, or usually it's like fish meal and clay mixed together. And it's basically baiting shrimp. The shrimp will come in and sort of swarm around this bait ball. And then you roll up on it with your boat, throw a cast net on top. And you're allowed to keep a 48-quart cooler per day per boat. Head on, that's a lot of shrimp.
Yeah.
Or you can do, like Harry was saying, they call it deep holing, which is like you look on your sonar, you go a 30-foot hole, and you can throw a special kind of net that stays open and not use bait, and you can do that any time of the year. It's just the baiting season that's going on right now, but everyone goes to Bulls Bay because it's a great spot. And Carrie and Adams and Michael's Landing is jam full of people shrimp baiting.
It really is.
It's a single boat launch. That's why. So
Yeah.
only
Yeah,
one boat
that's
at a
right.
time.
One at a time. That's
Yeah.
Same
That
thing's
could-
happening here right now. Our shrimp's in the bays, and same people do the same thing. They
okay.
go out there and hang a light and put some poles up and bait them up. A lot of people use like cans of cat food. They'll punch holes in
Yep.
it and just throw it out there, or rabbit pellets, or anything that'll turn kind of microscopic where the shrimp can eat it. And
Yep.
they sit there, they catching, like you said, ice chest full at night.
Yep. Is there a season for it there?
No, well, no season.
Okay.
And actually, as an individual, you don't even have to have a shrimp license. You just have to have a fishing license.
Okay.
You have to have a fishing license to hit the deep holes. You don't have to have a fishing license unless you're throwing over bait here, and then you have to get a shrimp and a separate tag.
Yeah, they give you like a set of 10 stickers that you got to put on your poles to show that you bought your pass for it. But it used to be really popular like 15 years ago. It was like way more popular than it is now. People kind of learned how to deep hole, and they're like, screw that. It's baiting, just a pain in the butt, you know?
Easiest way for me is I just go down to the commercial harbor, pay them $2.50, $3 a pound. They fill my ice chest up.
You're my man. Same way.
Great.
I mean, it's
Yeah, I
fun,
do
but
the
it's a
same.
lot of work.
Yeah.
I want to take the kids crabbing though at some point. I figure out if it's worth the effort, but I think they'd have fun.
They'd have fun. Yeah. All right. Let's go through our leaderboard. So overall leaderboard was led by not Robert Montana this month. He's on the board, but Joshua Carpenter took the number one spot with 26 releases, and Robert's there number 6 with 12. And it took 9, so 8, 9, and 10 were all tied at 9 releases to make the top 10 in the nation for all species. On the red drum side, there's Joshua leading with red drum. All of his fish were red drum, and took 7 to make the top 10 for reds. For trout, we had it only took 5 to make the number one. It's Ryan Schneider, and we all know Keith Nuttall. He's from Virginia. And it took 2 to make the top 10 for trout. We had not many trout entries lately, and I think that mainly has to do with the fact that South Carolina apparently got, affected by the freeze in the spring, but Virginia really got affected. And if you recall, over the past years, Virginia was our number one entry for trout, and you could see it in the numbers. We're just not getting Virginia trout enter. Just Keith's got 5, but it's like normally he'd have 5 times that much at least. So, but they'll come back. Like we had that little if you go on our YouTube, we have that thing called "What Is It About Virginia Trout?" and we know that they reached 20 inches in 2 years, so it's already second year. So there's already probably a lot of fish getting close to 20. And they'll get big fast, so they shouldn't have to suffer too long.
I listened to a Speckled Truth podcast today with a biologist out of Baffin Bay, and he was talking about the Baffin Bay trout. Most people think there's so much bait down there and the water's hypersaline and they get big because of that reason. And he said, not really. He said the reason why they get big down there is because they live longer.
Yep.
They actually have so many trout down there. A lot of those trout evade a hook, and they just live longer. And they said they proved that with otoliths. if the fish are older, that's why they grow bigger, not because of all the bait or the hypersaline water.
Yeah, I mean they'll get to be like 8, 9 years old, right?
Yeah, he said a lot of the trout that get in that 9, 10, 11, 12 pound range, he said those trout age anywhere from 6.5 to 9 years old.
Yeah, it's amazing. Really cool place, Baffin Bay. All right, we're starting to be striper season. I got Josh Chester up there with 3. If you had 1 striper this month, it made you in the top 10. I'm on there with a couple Hunter Floyds, another local guy. Starting to catch them a little bit in the brackish water. It's always my favorite time of year. Sheep's Head, we had Daniel Cohn with 3, and took just 1 to make the top 4. I don't think we had any flounder last month. South Carolina, yet again, way out ahead with 348. That makes me proud. Mostly has to do with our guide participation. Jimmy Skinner and Chris Osman and those guys. Really, really stoked about that. Virginia was in 2nd and North Carolina in 3rd. And we even had New Jersey on the board with 4. And I think those are flounder, if it's probably Daniel Mancari entering those from New Jersey, which is pretty cool. On the guide side, Jimmy Skinner, 131 entries in September. Amazing. Chris Hausman, also from South Carolina, with 58. Palm State Fishing, Captain Parker with 13. So interestingly, Jimmy and Parker, number 1, number 3, both fish out of a tiny little coastal island called Edisto Beach, which is pretty cool that those 2 together have just really affected that area so much. Chris and Jerry Condenzio in number 4. So number 2 and number 4 are both from the northern part of the state, like around Little River and Myrtle Beach. But I just love to see all those guys participating so much.
Most of those entries redfish, Dave?
Yeah, we have really abundant red fishery here. I wish we had more trout, but yeah, it's mostly redfish. And we had a few guys from North Carolina. We had Evan from Florida. Hoping to get more states more involved in the future. I think with what we're working on, that's going to happen. Make it a little easier to enter fish. Salt Strong Charleston was the leader this month for the businesses and organizations, followed by Low Country Kayak Anglers. So here's the funny thing. Low Country Kayak Anglers is a Charleston fishing club, really active. And I saw on Facebook where they were like, what? We're not going to let Salt Strong beat us. We all got to start entering our fish. So I think this month already, like they're way out ahead. So it's pretty cool. So I was hoping this would happen, like these organizations would start like trying to flex on other ones and compete a little bit, which I think is cool. And we also had Salt Strong St. Pete on there too. Go ahead.
I'm going to post it. Give him kudos.
Say that again, Michael. You broke up.
The Salt Strong group, now the Charleston group, and give them some kudos.
Yeah, for sure. All right, so the end of September was the end of quarter 3, so it's time for a leaderboard update for our end of year awards. So in Texas, our number 1 is Daniel Garza. In Louisiana, Sage Copeland. Mississippi, some guy named Dom Valius. I'm not sure who he is. South Carolina, Brian Ford. North Carolina, Ben Willis. Virginia, Robert Montana. Alabama is Joshua Carpenter. Georgia's Matthew Lee. And Florida is Danny Nowak. So if you're listed here in second or third, I can go to on the website, you can go to your state page and see how far behind, how much you need to catch up, see if you can overtake the leaders.
Well, my fishing partner's on my tail. He's right behind me.
Yeah. Some of those aren't even close, but some are. Like, for example, South Carolina, like I'm in second, but there's no way I'm catching Brian. And I wouldn't want to win anyway, for the record, but stoked for him. All right. So before we do our giveaways, I just want to say that we have a bonus giveaway this month, and that is Scotty Watson's was part of a tournament for disabled outdoorsmen and asked if we could do a giveaway for them. So they have entered fish, some of these guys and ladies, and we're going to do a special extra giveaway for them. And if you saw on our, like when we had that summary of how many fish were caught, one of those pictures was one of those disabled outdoorsmen with some I think he had like artificial legs, which is really cool. It looked like a really great event. I know Scotty's super proud of it. So with that, let's do the giveaway. So Carrie, turn it over to you. By the way, Carrie, I don't know if you saw, I had to substitute a couple things.
Yeah, just correct me whenever I come through here because I've got it written down so I can do it a lot faster. But on the captain's giveaway, we've got Carolina First Mate Incognito Mosquito Spray, and just around the corner, it won't be long, we're going to be putting that on. Mirror 84 MR, Slap a Fish Decal, Z-Man Scented Jerk Shaz Redfish Toad, Topwater Company Small Clips, Drum Spots Green T-shirt, Medium Drum Spots Playing, and then, Drum Spots Medium T-shirt and Drum Spots Playing Cards. And then what I don't see on here is the Hook Release Over 20 shirt for the captain, but I'm sure.
Yeah, so we keep those in a separate place, but we will, whoever wins, when I reach out to them, I'll ask for their preference of a shirt or a hat and get their size if it's a shirt. And then we'll, in addition to all these, you'll also be getting like some RO20 swag.
Yeah, I'm glad we're doing that because, I mean, you can't do it with everything, but, you know, there's a lot of smalls that go out of here and a lot of larges, and, you know, it's just hit or miss. If you're, you know, they're going to have to find somebody that it fits. But with the Hook shirts, though, or the cap, whatever, then I think that's great.
Okay, cool. So let me add so for the captains, we have 157 entries. And this 157. Okay, we'll roll 3 times. Third time will be the winner. Yeah, 142, 71. Winner is 14. Going way up here to 14. That's Captain Chris Ostman with Emma Ostman. I wonder if that's his daughter. As the client. So, Chris, congrats. I'll get a hold of you. And congrats to Emma. She had a 26-inch red drum. Okay. Next giveaway.
All right. Giveaway A is a Arctic Ice medium green ice pack. I can't believe we still got some of those, man.
We're down to like, that might have been the last one. There might be one more.
Coastal Swim Baits. That's the one that got Coastal Swim Baits. Drum Spots Playing Cards. Drum Spots Gray Beanie. That's the first time I've seen that beanie.
Yeah, they're cool.
That may be the first one I've given away. Epoch Battery Hand Towel and Ice Strike Release Over 23/16 3-pack. And Hook Release Over 20 shirt or cap.
Yep. Okay, in this draw we have 419 entries. 119. Okay, third time's the winner. 192, 271, 43 is the winner. $43. Chris Osman again. This goes to show you that the more you enter, the better your chances of winning. I say it all the time. Congrats to Chris. And we'll go to the next one.
All right.
This is the
Giveaway
one with the
B.
substitutions.
Yeah, and I think I know what it is. That Mercer Sports Millennial Cut Resistant Glove is what we were out of. I think.
That's right.
Okay, so we've got a Marshwear koozie and a Marshwear sticker. Drum spots, playing cards, drum spots, green tee shirt, extra large, Epoch battery flashlight keychain, Sticks HD sticker, Slap a Fish decal, and Release Over 20 hat.
Right.
But we changed that hat out for the Mud Minnow hat.
Yes, because they will also get
because they're getting Release
flag.
Over 20 shirt. Okay.
Right. That's right.
Release Over 20 shirt. Okay.
Okay. Oop. Okay. All right. 3 rolls. 73, 407, 418. 418. Wow, it was almost the last one. Drew Butler from South Carolina with a 20-inch red drum. Congrats, Drew. Got 2 South Carolina so far. And
all right.
One.
The final one. We've got a Pure Flats decal. And by the way, I talked to Greg, and he's already sent me a big box of 48 packages or something again. So we'll have those to go back into stock. I've got them here at the house.
Thank you, Greg.
Slap the Fish decal, Mirror Lure Marshmallow soft plastic, which those are pretty cool. Drum Spots visor. Sticks HD long sleeve with hood. That's a really cool. It's a $35 value, and the Sticks HD sticker and a hook Release Over 20 shirt.
Yeah, that's like a hooded sun shirt. Really, really cool.
Yeah.
All right. 3 rolls. 116, 276, 387 is the winner. 387. Tyler Rowalt with a 23-inch red drum. That is 3 for South Carolina. It's a sweep this month. All right, but we're not done. We have our disabled outdoorsman. And Carrie, you don't know what these are.
Well, we got an AFCO.
You have to wing it.
An AFCO sticker. Looks like we got the Release Over 23/16 eye strike jig heads. The fish bites, I'm not sure what I know what that is. That's something that we've got in stock that I've forgotten we've had.
Yeah, so I met them at ICAST this year, and they jumped on as a sponsor, and they made these up for us, and they're actually a custom. I don't know if it's a scent or a profile or both, but we need to be giving those out every month because they have sort of a shelf life to them.
Okay.
But they're cool. They're really cool, and they definitely work.
I'll make a note of that.
Okay.
Got a Drum Spots beanie and an eye strike visor.
Yep.
And I guess, are you throwing a hook?
Yeah.
Release Over 20 shirt in there. Okay.
Yep, we'll do that too. Okay, so we have 12 entries for that. Got 8, 2, and winner is 4. And that is Alan Lakoski with a 42.5-inch red drum with bent rod guide service. So congrats to Alan. I hope you had a great time in that tournament. And Alan, if you're watching, thank you for your service. Appreciate you, bud. So I will be getting a hold of, I'll be sending an email out right after this broadcast to all the winners, and we'll get their information and get their packages out. So one thing I wanted to say was that if you're in South Carolina, we had asked everyone to sort of lay off on going to the jetties and targeting these big bull reds while they're trying to spawn. Well, the spawn's over. You know they're still there. I mean, go get them and handle them right, release them right. But if we influenced you to do that, to just sort of lay off, thank you very much, because I believe it's going to make a difference. So, small sacrifice in my humble opinion. Take a couple months, just like go fish for other stuff. Now go have some fun. Go to the beaches. Go surf fishing. See if you can catch yourself a 40-inch plus. Super fun.
When do the sharks leave out of here?
What's that?
When will the sharks leave out of here?
Pretty soon, I think.
I think so, yeah.
There's plenty of them.
Yeah, we got just like everywhere in the whole freaking coast, all around the entire USA. There's just so many sharks.
Yeah,
problem.
we battled them this year as well, man. Wade fishing, man, about end of July to 1st of September.
Yeah.
You had to be on your P's and Q's.
Yes, sir. It's just how bad it is. If you go to the one of the reefs offshore and you catch cobia, if you get it into the boat, good on you. And then if you let it go, if it's undersized, it's probably gonna get woofed up by a bull shark. It's that bad. It's like, why even try? It's ridiculous. But it's not just here. It's like you said, it's everywhere. I don't know what the answer is, but one thing I told my friends at DNR is I read a book by Zane Grey. If you know who Zane Grey is.
I do, yeah.
He's like a writer from the early 1900s, right? He's a huge fisherman and a Western writer. And he bought this boat and chartered it, outfitted it. It's giant, like a 40-something foot boat, and chartered it to take him to the Galapagos Islands to fish. And it's like the first time anyone's ever fished there, probably, at least that way, right? And guess what? He couldn't get a fish in because it got sharked. Which tells you that it's probably not that we have a shark problem per se, but that we have a healthy shark population, which is a bad thing for us sport fishermen, but it probably means that the shark population is healthy. Not necessarily that it's a problem, but it's a problem for us, but you know what I mean? Ecologically, it's probably a good thing, but
I put them right up there with the cormorants.
Yeah, I mean,
there ought to be a season on them.
We like to hate on them.
I'll tell you what got us this year was you couldn't hardly throw a top water for the seagulls trying to take your top water bait.
Yeah,
I mean they was relentless. You'd cast out, and I don't know where they come from. They must can see that bait in the air from a mile. Because you start throwing the top water and popping it, and once they find out what you're doing, they don't leave. They just keep searching. You got to quit fishing.
How many did you catch, Don?
I caught a couple. My father and I caught a couple. We caught a couple pelicans.
Yeah, we planted some of both of those on the boat too.
Did you ever catch a frigate bird? I caught one of those once.
Oh, what?
Those are mean. A frigate bird?
Huh?
You know what I did catch multiple times? What I
What's
did
that?
catch multiple times this year?
What?
Myself.
Oh, did you?
I tell you what.
That hurts.
Darryl made a believer out of me. I bought me one of them D hookers. Man, I was wade fishing and got one in my finger. We went to Darryl's boat, and he said, I got just what we need. He said, watch it is. Boy, he put that thing on there and snatched it right out. We put a little alcohol on it, Band-Aid, and went back to fishing. It wasn't a darn 2 weeks later. I'm with my son and my grandson, and I hooked myself again. Same exact finger, same exact hole.
Same hole.
Yeah, same exact spot in my finger. So I had that one of those D hookers with me, and I was able to get that thing out with that D hooker by myself. Man, I believe in those things. You seen them at that ICAST, those D hookers?
Yeah.
Those things are awesome, man. I suggest everybody that's got a boat and fishes for trout with artificial baits, multiple hooks, you got to have one of those.
I got a little set of bolt cutters.
My
Need a set of
son's
bolt cutters too to cut the darn split ring.
my son's a doctor, went through medical school, and before he went into school, this is back when he was probably early in high school, we were fishing at Devil's Lake for a walleye, and I got 2 hooks in the pad of my thumb, down here on the meaty part right here, and they were past the barb. So the only way to get them out, we had 2 pair of pliers, and I opened one like this, had my buddy trying to push that sucker through. And then we're just talking. We're just saying, well, Mitch, I think you need to just push down on it, and then you pull it through. And my son's now he's a doctor now, but he's laying in the bow of the boat, just rolling around going, oh, sick to his stomach, just listening to us talk.
You think this is the
Derek,
last
boy, I
person?
tell you what, trying to get a hook back out of the palm of your hand or out of that pad on your thumb, man, that's some tough skin.
Yes,
Yeah.
let me tell you. I said, you know what? It went where it went in my thumb and it turned up. I said, I'll just push it through.
Yeah.
And you got to be some kind of special dude to push that thing through there. I'm telling you, that thing hurt.
Well, my hands were cold, and that was probably my saving grace.
John Miller's buddy, David Roya, we was in some trout outside of one of the islands, and he got a hook in his hand. And man, I said, Dave, we're gonna have to go in. He says, no, we not. He said, I'm gonna push that baby through. And man, he was like 70-something years old. He pushed that thing through there, and I said, I don't know how you did that. It's like Terry said, that skin is so tough on your darn hands. It's like
real man.
trying to push it through leather.
Yeah. This was a brand new plug too. So the hooks were super sharp.
Wow. You know what was bad?
Well, guys, let's
I don't
wrap
know.
it up, okay? We can keep talking, but I'm going to end the stream. All right.
Okay.
Thanks, everybody.
All right.